Okay, in today's lesson, we're mainly going to be looking at effective interest rate. But what you'll notice or note that they state the nominal interest rate. And what that is, what we've been doing, it's the actual interest rate per annum. So remember how I said they always state the per annum rate, whether you want a monthly or daily formula, they will state the yearly, and that's known as the nominal interest rate. So then we've looked at compounding periods. So that's like when the interest is added on. So remember we could do it daily, we could do it monthly. And when we looked at a few of those geometrics recurrence, like compound interest, we noticed in the other lesson, remember we noticed that the more often we compounded or we got the interest, so if we got it monthly, we made more money than if we did it only yearly, the interest. So here's are the recurrence formulas or the nth term formula, of a couple. So if we have a yearly rate, remember we divide, this n was 1 and we just divided by 1. So we're just going over, so if it was weekly, we divided this, the R is the yearly rate, we divided by 52 and so on. So if you look down here at this, an example, an investment account will pay an interest of 3.6 per annum. So here is the nominal rate they have just stated. Convert this rate to monthly. So if we have to convert 3.6, we divide by 12, fortnightly, 26, and so on. Pretty easy. So what effective interest rate is really commenting on how we made the more money when we compounded it more regularly. So effective interest rate, the more frequently interest is calculated and added to your investment or loan, the more rapidly the value of your investment loan increases. Interest earned can be expressed as a percentage of the original investment. So effectively, they're going to show you what you actually earned, even though all the nominal rates were 4.8. So let's have a look at this one. It's the same example. So you have a VO, or a beginning amount of 5,000, and they've stated that it's per annum 4.8. So if we just got our interest yearly, so 4.8, so if you think about it, 4.8% of 5,000 equals 240. So therefore, if you've made 240 interest, and they put the original amount and they times 100, and the effective interest rate is 4.8, and it should be because it's yearly, and so it should match up. Now what happens is if we try quarterly, so instead of just getting the one time at the end of the year the interest, we're going to get the interest 4 times a year, and after the first quarter we're just going to get 1.2% of it. So if you do that, and then they do that 4 times, so you could imagine after the first quarter you've got a little bit more money, and then you get by second half you get 1.2 of that, and so on. So effectively over the whole year, this is the interest earned over the year, so they did 4 times at 1.2. So you'll see it's a little bit more than the rest. So if we work out its effective interest rate, we do the interest that earned over the year divided by the original amount times 100, and you can see effectively what you actually got was 4.89% interest. So we can see, even though they've stated 4.8 is your per annum, effectively you made 4.89. So if we go to do it monthly, that means we're going to divide the 4.8 by 12, and every month you're going to get 0.4% interest added. So you'll get interest added 12 times over the year, and then you'll earn this 245. So you can see it's a little bit more. So if we effectively work out the effective interest rate, we can see that it's higher. So we talked about this the other day. So the more often you compounded, so we can see monthly is more often than quarterly, we got a higher effective interest rate. Okay, this formula here is how they calculate, you can calculate effective interest rate. You won't need to use that. The only thing you might get is you might get a multiple choice where they've subbed the values in. So you've got your reference book, you can refer back to this. Otherwise, we work effective interest rate out on our calculator. So the way you do it on your calculator is you press menu, and this is on a normal calc page, sorry. So you press menu, you go down to number 8, which is finance, and and then you look for number 5, pretty obvious, interest conversion, and then you pick, we always want the effective interest rate 1. Okay, so what you actually type when you're trying to find out, so that once you click on that, you get the EFF up on your calculator and an open bracket. So you put your per annum rate. So before we had 4.8 per annum, and then you tell it how many times a year you're going to get interest. So say if it was monthly, you go comma 12. So that would be if it's monthly. And then you press enter and it'll effectively tell you the interest rate. Okay, so here's an example of a question, because sometimes we can't, it's hard to compare which is better, so without using so we use the effective interest rate to know which one's better. So if we have a look here, Brooke would like to borrow $20,000, so she's deciding between 2 loans. The first loan is 5.95 per annum, compounding weekly. So this one is, the 5.95 is the nominal, and compounding weekly is how many times. So if we do this on the calculator, we go EFF 5.95, comma, weekly is 52 weeks in a year, and down. So you can see down here, sorry, I've done that on the calculator, and there's my thing. Her other option, she went to another bank, they're going to offer her 6% per annum, compounding quarterly. So you would think weekly should give the higher one, but you just don't know because it's compounding more often, but the rates aren't the same, so we can't be totally sure. So we pop this one into the calculator too, 6% compounding quarterly, which means 4 times a year, and we find out. So actually the 6%, even though it's not compounded, it's a little bit higher, so therefore it is the better option. So just be careful when you're borrowing money. Oh, sorry. That's not the better option. She wants the lowest. She doesn't want to pay too much interest. So she'll take the lowest one, this one. If you were investing, you want the higher one because you want to take the higher effective because you want to make more money. Okay,